Well, in his testimony before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Thursday, former FBI Director James Comey revealed that he asked a friend to leak the contents of his memos to the New York Times. The documents detail Oval Office meetings between Comey and the president.
The president responded on Twitter early Friday morning, calling James Comey a leaker. CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reed is in our Washington bureau. Good to see you, Paula.
Good to see you, too.
Okay, James Comey says that the president told him he hoped he could let the investigation into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn go. And then Comey testified that he took that not just as a suggestion, oh, I would hope it, but no, it was an inappropriate instruction. So then Comey goes and writes these memos about that and these other meetings with the president, then makes sure they reach the New York Times. So one of the several questions becomes, were these memos classified?
That's a great question. Now, we have to remember that there were 9 different conversations between the president and the former FBI director, 3 in person and then 6 on the phone. And some of them actually dealt with national security matters. So some of these memos are classified. But the understanding is at this point, the memos that have been shared, the information that has been shared, is the non-classified material. Comey testified that after each one of these meetings, he felt obligated to write down exactly what happened. He specifically said that he believed eventually he would need a record of what had happened, not just to protect himself, but to protect the FBI. And it seems that he intentionally left everything he could unclassified so that he would be able to share it eventually.
All right, so Paula, the president's outside lawyer, Mark Kazowitz, says the president will file a complaint against Comey for leaking the memo. If Comey had committed a crime, wouldn't he have kept this to himself in front of the Senate panel? Why say that then?
You would think so, right? You would think that if someone had committed a crime, that they would not admit to it under oath in such a public setting. But it appears, Comey has thought this through. He's extremely smart. He's been the #2 person at the Justice Department. He's run the FBI, U.S. attorney before that. He clearly legally thought this through. In addition, he shared these with a law professor. So his legal defense is that these were just his memories as a private citizen. So he's really not a leaker in the traditional sense. He could have easily insulated himself in the way that he shared this. Sometimes sources that know they may be called to testify under oath, they'll share things with you without really sharing them too directly, so that if they ever found themselves in that same chair, they could honestly testify. No, I did not direct the leak of that information. So he's not a leaker in the traditional sense. He seems to volunteer. Yeah, I shared it. I shared it with a friend who shared it on my behalf. He says he was a private citizen. He was merely sharing his recollection.
All right, real quick, Paula, put your legal cap on here, your lawyer cap. Do you think this potential complaint against Comey actually holds water?
I don't. Here's why. It's being recommended to the Office of Inspector General. That's the internal watchdog for the Justice Department. And that person usually looks at people who already work in the Justice Department and whether or not they violated standards or ethics. So even if they found fault, the worst thing they can do is blackball him from employment at the Justice Department. If they find any evidence of criminality, then they could recommend it to the Justice Department. But it just really doesn't appear at this point that there is a case for that.
Tell us a little bit more about this Office of the Inspector General. Is this the type of thing they normally handle, and what will be the process for them looking into it?
There's nothing normal about this case, let me tell you. It's highly unusual. It's just going to be a favorite water cooler topic for law professors and the rest of us for quite some time, because it's what's called a case of first impression. Now, the Office of Inspector General, they deal with any sort of issue internally, what's going on in the Justice Department, and in fact, they have an ongoing investigation into Mr. Comey, into the former FBI director, for how he handled the matter to use Attorney General Loretta Lynch's term, the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private server. So that's been an ongoing investigation. They're looking to see whether or not he violated any protocol there. So what's so interesting is that the president didn't wait for the Office of Inspector General's full report on Comey there, which would have given him a whole stack of information on which to potentially fire the former FBI director. But they want the Office of Inspector General to take a look at these alleged leaks. It's a very interesting use of the Office of Inspector General's investigation power and those reports that he or she issues.
Well, it's boom time for water coolers and for investigations. Justice reporter Paula Reed in Washington. Paula, thanks.